Hey everybody, today I was going to shoot a video about various fish medications and whether or not it's a good idea to keep them on hand, but it's now turned into another video about my problem tank that I've been struggling with here. Don't know what's going on with it, but today's issue is going to be my rainbow shark there. Look at its dorsal fin as we get closer, and you can even see a little bit on its ventral fins, its pectoral fins even. See how it has those sort of white edges on there, especially on its dorsal fin, and it looks a little sort of raggedy. I've looked at that and looked at that this morning. It looks like it's getting nipped at, and the fin is sort of short and stubby because it's being chewed on by something. But there's just nothing in this tank that would do that. Any fish that would nip on its fins would probably be sitting there right now next to it. Maybe the rainbow fish, possibly. I've never really heard of loaches being fin nippers, but I suppose that's a possibility. So I went up, I looked at other pictures of rainbow fish just to see if, rainbow sharks, just to see if any of those also had sort of white frilly edges to their fins. I thought maybe that's something that just develops as the fish matures or something, because it doesn't look quite like any fin rot that I've ever seen before. But at this point, I don't really know what else to think of it as. I'm going to have to probably assume that that is a little bit of fin rot going on my rainbow shark there. And I don't know why. I don't know what is going on in this tank. I've had so many issues with this tank over the last couple of weeks, and all of them seem to be unrelated. Now, in my experience, you don't have a whole slew of issues that are all unrelated. A lot of times it's a sort of cascade effect. One thing leads to another. One imbalance causes a shift in something else, and then that causes something else to go haywire, and you can set off this sort of chain reaction cascade effect that can really wreck a tank. But I just don't know what happened or what's going on. The tank really changed when my synodontis died. First of all, I have no idea why it died. My assumption is sort of that it probably swallowed some gravel or something and had some kind of intestinal blockage. That makes the most sense to me. Of course, it could have been something genetic, or it could be some disease I've never heard of. There's a million things that can cause a fish to die. But anyway, once that synodontis died, the tank has never been the same. The fish have never behaved the same. My tenopoma never behaved the same. And ever since then, I've just been having issues, and they all seem completely unrelated. So issue number one is my loaches. My regular viewers will know I've been going around and around with the loaches. We are going to talk more about them, just not in this video. But got skinny loaches. Common theory is that it has some sort of intestinal parasite. Makes sense. Symptomatically, it all lines up and everything, and so that's what I'm going with, that it probably has some sort of intestinal parasite. I had 3 rainbow fish die just out of nowhere, like somebody forgot to wind them up and they just stopped moving and fell dead. No apparent signs of unusual behavior, no apparent signs of ill health, no outward signs of physical injury, nothing. Bright, shiny, beautiful, colored, fully vibrant, fat-bellied, healthy fish just fell dead. No idea what killed my rainbow fish. I've got algae blooms going in the tank with all the hair algae growing everywhere. I've got slightly cloudy water, although the cloudy water, I think, is just a byproduct of me swapping out my old filter and putting a new filter in, and that's going to wind up clearing itself up in a couple of days. It's already a lot clearer than it was yesterday. I'm just going to ride that one out, and within a week we'll have nice clear water in here again. I'm not worried about that. But at the same time, it just seems like all these things are going on in this tank at the same time. And now I've got this rainbow fish in there that appears to have fin rot. You know, how can a rainbow fish be getting its fins nipped on and have fin rot and not that? You know, if there's a fin nipper in the tank, I would think the rainbow fish would not be the fish you would go after if you were trying to nip some fins. You know? And so I just don't know what to do about this tank. I don't know what's going on in here. I'm kind of at my wit's end. I'm getting really frustrated with why I keep having all these issues, and it's not anything to do with my husbandry or the way I've been maintaining the tank. That hasn't changed in years. It's not like I suddenly started doing anything differently. Something has triggered some sort of something that's going on differently in this tank. I can't chalk it up to any kind of disease or parasite or something that's living in the tank. You know, for the various variety of things I've treated for, you know, I should have eradicated anything like that by now. Again, I don't know. I don't know what's going on in here, but I do happen to have some medication on hand that can treat for fin rot, and I'm going to go ahead and use that. So we will do a before and after video here, because once I pour this medication in, it's going to turn this tank a very, very weird color green. And so I'll go ahead and get that all mixed up and ready to pour in the tank, and then I'll be right back and we'll go ahead and see what that looks like as I pour it in the tank. So get ready for a green fish tank. Alright, we're back. So that is what we're putting in there. And it is going to make this aquarium look really funky. And slowly but surely it'll make its way around the whole tank. Not only do I have the filter running, but I've got that big power head down there, although it might be time to reach in there and pull some of that vegetation off the power head. I always let a little bit of vegetation grow on that power head just because it actually reduces the amount of flow and puts it a little closer to where I want it. That's a pretty vigorous power head when left unchecked, so having a little bit of plants growing on it or whatever actually is sort of a natural reduction, not to mention it makes it a little less visible in the back corner of the tank. So there you go, that's today's look at my problem tank. We will talk a little bit more about various medications and having medications on hand. I do know that that is one of the luxuries here in the United States that we get. A lot of other people in other parts of the world can't just order fish medications the way I can and have them on hand. They actually have to go to the veterinarian's office and take their fish with them, and a bunch of stuff that I can't imagine having to go through every time you had a sick fish. So fortunately I'm able to just have some meds on hand, and then when I need them, they're ready to go. So we'll go ahead and talk about that in an upcoming video. So there you go, everybody. There's my 125. Stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed. Never a dull moment. We'll have to figure out what's going on with this one and see how that rainbow shark turns out. I think it'll be okay. A little bit of fin rot's not that big a deal if you catch it in time, and that did not seem like an advanced case or anything, so we're probably going to be just fine. I've got enough to dose this tank twice, which is what it requires. You dose it like this, you wait 48 hours, you dose it again, and then after 48 hours you go ahead and do your water changes and put your carbon back in and all that kind of stuff if you run carbon. That's another video topic I'd like to talk about soon, is whether or not to run carbon in your tanks, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So thanks for watching this one. As I said, make sure you're subscribed. And let me show you what I'm using here. API Fungus Cure, that's what we're trying. So just because I had it, it was available. It says it works for fin rot. And if this does not work, we're going to go ahead and move up to the erythromycin, which will definitely work for fin rot. Should be a bacterial infection causing the fin rot. So there you go, everybody. As I keep saying, thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed. You don't want to miss any updates on that little guy right there or anything else I got coming up. So thanks again. I'll see you real soon.